Starting seeds indoors is a great way to get a head start on your garden. There are so many different varieties you can choose that you can't get at a nursery, and you can save a bundle compared to buying $5 to $6 seedlings. But every year I see photos of these tall, leggy seedlings, trays with only a few seedlings popped up, or a ton of seedlings, but they stay pretty small. And then they're asking what happened. All of this info is coming from years of starting seeds myself for my own garden, as well as teaching seed starting workshops when I was an extension agent and teaching college students how to start seeds. By the end of this video, you will know the 5 mistakes when starting seeds indoors and the right way to do things so you can have thriving, strong seedlings. I'm Dr. Denise DeBusk, owner of Rescue My Plant, and I am a plant doctor and educator with 10 years of specialized education, including a doctorate in plant medicine, think plant health, and 15 years diagnosing plants and teaching horticultural topics. I now help vegetable gardeners grow healthy vegetables so more reach the table. By the way, I created a free cheat sheet on the 12 easiest vegetable seeds to start indoors that includes when to plant them and some cool varieties. I'll share more at the end. But if you want the details, comment cheat sheet. Today I'm going to go through the 5 most common mistakes, which includes improper timing, underwatering or overwatering, insufficient light, ignoring thinning, and skipping hardening off. First is improper timing. Timing for starting seeds depends on your last frost date. Not all seeds can be started at the same time. For example, tomatoes should be started 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date. So if your last frost date is mid-April, that puts us into mid-February. Lettuce only needs 4 weeks, so you would start them mid-March. In Florida, I can start my seeds as early as December. Many times I see Facebook posts from people in northern climates that start their seeds way too early and have to wait to plant them. By the time they can plant them, the seedlings are very leggy, and leggy seedlings don't do well. Make sure you check your last frost date and plan what veggies get started when. The second mistake is over or under watering. You need to make sure your seedlings stay moist, but not wet. There are a variety of ways to water your seeds: spray bottle, hose with a water breaker nozzle, or bottom watering. What I typically do is when I go to plant my seeds, I wet the soil in a separate container until it is moist, and then plant the seed and gently mist the top. Then I will check on the plants daily and lift the tray to see if it has dried out some. Then I fill the solid tray with water to bottom water. Once the soil is full of water, I dump out any remaining water. If your soil stays overly wet, it can get a fungus called damping off, which rots the stem. It can get fungus gnats or algae growth. If the soil dries out for too long, the seed will die. The key is to always keep the top of the soil dark, but it should not stay soggy. Probably the number one mistake is actually lighting, but we'll talk about it third here. Seedlings need at least 14 to 18 hours of direct light. The best ways to provide light for your seedlings is to use a grow light or a south-facing window. I built my own grow light by using materials from Home Depot. I place the light about 4 inches above the seedlings and keep raising it as it grows. Don't let the leaves touch the light. I put the light on a timer for 15 hours. If you don't have enough light, your seedlings will be weak and spindly. For windows, you may want to turn your seedlings daily. The best practice is to use a light directly above the seedlings for the best growth. The fourth mistake is not thinning your seedlings. Seedlings that are too close will not grow strong. I have a hydroponic garden called AeroGarden that I start some seeds in. I recently planted about 3 seeds in each peat tube because not all of them will sprout. Well, quite a few of them sprouted, so I was left with several plants coming out of each hole. If I kept all of them, they would not grow as strong because they're competing for space. So I snipped all but one in each hole after they had 2 sets of true leaves. That way, they all become strong seedlings. When using soil, I plant 2 to 3 seeds, but I space them apart. If they're spaced apart, you could possibly gently separate them and place them into a bigger container to grow. In general, snipping them will cause the least amount of damage. I currently have some lettuce seedlings that I plan on using for a salad that I snipped. So it's still a win-win. Make sure you thin your seedlings to 1 plant per cell. The last mistake is skipping hardening off. Seedlings that are not used to direct sunlight and wind need to be transitioned to outside. This is called hardening off. Seedlings have been pampered up to this point, and direct sunlight can burn the leaves of seedlings. The wind can snap their delicate stems. By placing your seedlings in an area that gets partial shade for longer and longer amounts of time, they can get used to those conditions. I have an area by my house that I use to harden off my seedlings. Although no matter how much I harden them off, they still look like deflated balloons by day 1 of planting because of the higher temperatures. So I often have to water them a couple times a day for the first few days. So make sure you harden off your seedlings for 1 to 2 weeks before planting in the garden. So those are the 5 common mistakes for starting seeds. Which mistake have you done? Now do you know how to fix that mistake? Don't forget to comment cheat sheet if you want to get some tips on 12 of the easiest vegetables to start indoors. It includes the timing on when to plant them as well as some cool varieties to try.